All right, so welcome to another video again, and in this video we're going to be modeling the window. All right, so we modeled the door, so now we're going to model in the window in this video. All right, so I think we should just get started. No much talking. I think so that we could progress with our so when we're done modeling the window, then we can go ahead and model a gate. All right, so we're going to be modeling a full-blown building in this tutorial series, and the door I modeled, I'm going to use it. So I want to model a window that I might use. All right, so I actually let me, instead of modeling just random stuff, just because of the tutorial that we are going to run now, I wouldn't want to use anything from the SketchUp warehouse. I wanted us to model everything, but we won't do that. We're going to model many things, and then we're going to get some things from SketchUp warehouse. So but what I want to do right now is to look at the building plan. So I did go to the certain website and look for a free building plan. I can't remember the name of the website though, but well, the building plan was for free, so I downloaded it. And this is a preview of what it looks like, because they did put a render and stuff like that. So this is like window they have there, the windows they have there, and this is their render. Right, we're going to be making ours, and we're going to be making ours using the building plan. So, but let's see the architectural drawings. All right. So for this, I would want to see the window profile. All right. So this is the window profile, window schedule, right? So we could tell that this is it looks like casement windows, or maybe not. All right. So this is the window when you look at it from the side. All right. So door window schedule, right? Ground floor and all that. Now, for the window, I'm gonna model this. I'm gonna model these windows. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this as well, but I'm also going to make reference to our pictures. I'm going to make reference also to our pictures. And why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why I would make reference to our pictures is okay, I'll make a reference to our pictures so that we could get a better angle to what we're dealing with. All right, so model an object. Let's see, a window. All right. So you can see different forms of windows, right? You can see this is a sliding window, some kind of casement windows going on here, different things, all right? So always remember the windows have frames, and then they have the main frame. We have the frame that mounts to the wall, and then the frame that holds the glass, and then the glass. So that being said, having that in mind, if we look at this right here, if you look at this right here, we could see this is not bad. So this looks like a sliding window, not a casement window, right? It looks like a sliding window, right? But this right here looks like a casement window. So I'm just going to model this casement part, casement bit, and I would compare that with what we have here. Let's look for casement illustration. I think something like this. Yeah, something similar to this. So I guess with that, we could actually get down to work. So here we can see the total dimension of this window. So I think I might just model these two windows. I might just go ahead and model those two windows. So from the looks of things, this is what we have. All right. View from side to opening side. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay, so I just want to get started with something. So resources, SketchUp. All right, let's look at this closely and see. So this is a sliding window, right? That's a sliding window, right? It's not a casement window. These ones are not casement. These are sliding windows. So, but let's see, the other one that I wanted to model looks like a casement window, like this one. All right. This is a casement window. The middle part is a casement, while the top and the bottom part are fixed. All right. All right. So that's good to know. So I want to model this sliding window and this casement window. All right. So I'm going to be fast with my modeling. I will try as much as possible to not spend time. All right. So I'll save my door and then I'll create a new one. So I'll go ahead and do my 2 to 5 door. So I'll create a 3 meters long wall, 3 meters long wall, and 2 to 5 meters thick, 5 millimeters thick. That's the average wall thickness here. And then I'm just going to push this like 3 meters high. All right. So a typical window, the height starts from 2,100 meters, 2,100 millimeters coming downward. So we see here from this that the dimension of this particular window is 900. All right. So this is 900 coming down from 2,100. That's how windows are done. All right. So it goes down from here. That's the door height. 2,100 is the door height. So the windows always go down from the door height by whatever height the window is. So this is 900. So that means the window goes down by 900. All right. So I'm just going to locate the middle of this little wall, and I'll do for 450 this direction and 450 this direction, so that I can get my 900 this side and 900 this side. All right. Because that's the dimension on this window. All right. So we've gotten this part, and the left is left for us. All right, the rest is left for us. So I just go ahead and do this and puncture a hole through, and then I'm just going to go ahead and group this wall. Just call it wall. All right. All right. So my window now, the first thing I need to take note of is that the window has a frame. All right. So I'm just going to do the framing first. So I'd like to look at these rendered part to see. All right. So I can tell it doesn't come out. It doesn't come out of the wall. It just goes from the wall inward. All right. And I can see the frame is looking somewhat thick, right? So the thickness of the frame, I'll just make an assumption, right? So let me pull this out and see. I like this, so I think I'll use 50, right? I'll use 50. So no, just 50, and then I'll pull that all the way through, right? I'm pulling it all the way through to create my frame. Oh, okay. I can't push it all the way through. I'll delete that part and then push this all the way through. All right. So that's the frame I want to have. Now, the next thing there is if you check a casement window or sliding windows, you'd find out they have like rails going on there. So if I could just, they have like rails going on there, and let me go ahead and create this window. So they have some rails going on. So but what I'm just going to do is I would get something in like so. All right. So I just want to look at this, and I can see that now when you really look at a window from a good perspective, you can see this is like it has an inset from the wall actually by some distance, and then you can see the distance in between the rails. Right? So that's not so clear, but having seen a real window, I know what I'm looking at. All right. So I can just move this in by like 25. I'll move it in by 25. I'll do the same thing in here. Move it in by 50 in the inside. All right. Because well then from here I will just insert by like let's say 25 again, and with that I could just duplicate that all the way through. And I'm doing this just so I could, cut it through like so. All right, so I'll do this right here. I'll do this, and I'll do this right here. And I'll just go ahead and do that. Now, some of these details might not be necessary. All right, so I'm not going to go so overboard with details. All right, but the idea is we're learning how to model, so there is no problem if we model with so much details. All right, there won't be any problem if we model with so much details. All right, so I'm just going to push this in, push this down by like 30. All right, and I'll push in by like 20. All right. Oh wow, I didn't get rid of this guy. All right, so this goes 20 in, 20 in, 30 down, and 30 up. All right, so you can see we're already nicely framing this up. Now, not wanting to do so much here, I'm just going to make this sit sit well. So this frame might be too thick as opposed to a real window, but it's very similar to what I want to do, and I'm not willing to spend so much time modeling here. So I'll just call this window mainframe, like a mainframe computer. All right. So what I'm going to do here now is to create the sliding glass. All right. So first of all, it's going to sit like it's equal, but it's not. But I'm just going to try to get the center. All right. So something like this. All right. So I'm just going to make one and duplicate it. All right. So because there's no point in making multiple windows. All right. So you see how simple this is just going. All right. So I'm just going to see. All right. So let's see. It's not supposed to be too thick. So let's do like 40. All right. So for this 40 now, I will go ahead and pull this till it cuts through. All right. Now, one of the things I want to do is this window is supposed to extend like this to the other side. So that's 40. So I'm just going to extend it by 40 because it's supposed to be overlapping like this, the two sides are supposed to touch. So I select this face and I select this face, and then I will move this to this point. And at this point, I could just go ahead and click that and make this a group. All right. So with this, I can now go ahead and get a middle point. I just get a good thickness, like say 2.5 and 2.5 over here. Then I will put my rectangle, and just to get it, in the very middle. Since I group that, then I could push this up. Now I did this so I could get the screen. That's the glass. All right, so I'll call this glass. All right, then I select this and call this, just make this a component, and I'll call this slide window, slide glass. I just call it glass, slide glass. Then to start making it make sense, I'll call this frame, glass frame. All right, I'll just go ahead and put my color. It's going to be metal, so I'll just do something like this. I use this, and then for the glass, I just pick one of those glass materials, and something like this is fine. Then I put that there. Then I come down and I just go ahead and duplicate this. All right, I'll duplicate it to the middle point. Then I'll move it down till some point thereabout. All right, and having that there, I have finished. All right, oh, okay, that's the this part is supposed to come here like so. All right, so then I could just go ahead and take this and fill this in, and voila, I'm done with that window. All right, so you can see very simple, very straightforward. And now you see one good thing about modeling like this, you could go ahead and move the logos to wherever you want it to be. So if peradventure you're going to go into animating them, it's not going to be difficult, and you can see from all directions it's looking cool. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete guides. Then I'll click on this and click on this, and then I'll make this group, but majorly a component. So I'll call this sliding sliding toilet window. All right, so I think that's a toilet window. That should be the toilet window. And also you could make variations of a component, right? So, but we'll do that in a more advanced video. All right, so this is a window one, and this is going to be used for the toilet in the house. All right, so this window is the next one that I want to make in this video. All right, so I should be able to do this in the next 15 minutes. All right, so my wall, I would just go ahead and give it the same synthetic material like the last wall, synthetic surface. All right, then having made this group, I need to make that a component. All right, so right? So when we start modeling a house project, then we're going to go into looking at dynamic components and maybe a little bit of stuff in that nature. Maybe we'll do that, all right, so that we can see, because my whole plan in this course is to bring you up to walking speed so that you understand a whole lot of things. So I take my time. So if you follow along this training, you are fine, all right? You're going to be fine. You're going to be very fine, all right? So you won't have so much to worry about when you follow along with this training. They might look complex, but if you go back and come back again, practice, practice, practice. Now, some of the things I do might look complex, but it's all about practicing, right? So if you don't practice these things by replicating what I'm doing, you might end up not understanding what is going on, right? So do ensure you practice. All right, you see what I was telling you? This is the door height and this is the window. All windows are aligned at the same height, and that's the very height of the door, right? So and just take note of one thing here. So this glaze, or this window here, has some interesting looking stuff. All right, I can't fully see the design, but I'm just going to assume that it opens outwards like one of these, like this. All right, this, yeah, I'm just gonna assume it opens like a casement window in that regard. All right, so that being said, so we can see it's supposed to be the same height with this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and first of all, I will just go ahead and first of all, I'll just delete this one because I don't need that window again. All right, so I'll delete that and I'll get the total height from the plan. That's 1,900. So 1,900. Quite a length. I'm just gonna push this guy down to that point. So that's how long that window is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and begin creating the frame. I used 50 last time. I'll still use 50 here so that I'll be fast. All right, so I'll delete this face and pull this to the very end. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and measure the same depth I did for this guy. Measure the same depth inwards from that direction and inward with this direction. And then I'm just going to go ahead and call this a group. and I will begin to fill it immediately. The colors, all right? So, or maybe I won't do that so that I can see what I'm doing, all right? So now with this done, we know that this window is divided into three. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure the total length. That's that 1,800. So I'm just going to do 1/8 divided by 3. All right. And then I'll measure another one downwards. 1/8 divided by 3. All right. So now I'll just go ahead and frame this up. And our frame using the same thickness, 50. Was it 50 we used here? I don't think so. I think we used 40 here. So we're just going to use the same 40 that side. So we use 40 for this. And this as well will move to overlap, all right? So that when we do this, the other one will rest on top of it, all right? So we'll just go ahead and move this inward. And then we'll move this inward by 50 and push it to be 50 thick. All right. So I couldn't see so much of the details, so I'm just going ahead and make this a group. All right. So normally these windows do have handles, so I will take into account a handle for this guy when I want to close him. All right. So from here, I'm just going to measure 5 or 2.5, 2.5, and measure 2.5 so that it will be 2.5 thick, 5 meters thick. What am I trying to make? The glass. Right? Making windows can be really simple and straightforward. You don't necessarily have to be so sophisticated with your design. All right. So there are complicated windows, of course, but it doesn't always have to be so complicated. All right. So I could just go ahead and call this glass, and then I'll call this frame, glass frame again, glass frame. And then one of the other thing I would do is first of all, this is going to be a component, right? So this glass and the glass frame, those are components. I want to make them components because I'll just call this window, case window. I'll just call it case window. All right, then I'm just gonna move this downwards. I'm gonna just move it till it touches the bottom. All right. So, and I'm just having some space left in the range. I'm just gonna come in here and I'm just gonna select this guy and pour in the color now. I'll pour in the material already. So the last one is going to just come out like so. I'm just gonna measure this down. All right, then I'm gonna push this outward. All right, so okay, that's 20. All right, so it's just something like this, and you can see that immediately I could just do something like that. All right, now I do not know what's going on this side of the model because I didn't get to see that part clearly, but clearly we are done modeling that window and we could just go ahead to add details as such. Now windows can open from this kind of windows should open from inside. All right, so but we didn't really put that into account, majorly because we don't have so much details about the window. But generically speaking, we have modeled everything that we need to model. So we could decide to add the handle in the inside, or maybe not. It's still left for us. So we can call this the frame. So window frame. All right. And with that, we can call this the casement window, or three leaf, three panel casement window, whatever we want to call it. All right. With that, we can just make that a component. Three panel casement window. Just make that a component. And sorry about that. Just make that a component. And from there, we are done modeling these windows. All right. So very simple and straightforward stuff. All right. You could move them around, and we could just place them in multiple locations in the houses. We just pick them up from something like this. All right, so that being said, I'll just go ahead and save. I just realized I haven't saved. So Windows, call this Windows because I did two. And then next video, I'm just going to do the two gates. I'm just going to do either one or two of it. Then we'll be done with the basic modeling activities here. So after the next one, which is the gate, I would go ahead to introduce plot my SketchUp video, because I'm going to do the SketchUp, sorry, the extensions video after these modeling videos. All right, so just sorry about that. For those who may not know, you might want to just find out how to install the plugins from other videos, but I'm just going to do this gates, this extension video after the gate modeling the gates. All right, so that being said, once we are done with this, originally in the curriculum, okay, let me just finish. All right, so yeah, I'm done with this video. So just explanations. So originally in the curriculum, we were supposed to go from when we're done doing the models, and then we'll now come into understanding rendering and all that. So, but I decided to take a different approach. I want to handle all modeling in one section, and then handle all rendering in one section. So what we're going to do now is after the gates have been modeled, then we're going to jump into the architectural modeling. All right, that's where we start modeling the buildings. So the next video I'm going to be releasing is going to be, we're going to be modeling the building that you just saw. We're going to be modeling that building from start to finish. And I will not use speed model. I might not use speed modeling. And the reason I might not do that is so that I could explain all the way through. All right. The idea of this training is not necessarily for quick and short captions. It's like walking you in from every step all the way through. All right. So, I mean, I could have used this to model the doors, but I don't want to have model everything before the the main thing. All right, so these are the doors that were used in the particular that particular stuff. So we're just going to try to, so those renders I showed you are not my renders. So we're going to be getting something slightly different from that, because while rendering, we're going to try to use different engines to render. So, but before we begin to render these things, we're going to try to render some of the things we have you made before in the past. All right, we're going to try to render those things, like the corpse and all those other things. We're going to try to render them, just give them a little bit of backdrop and environment, so that we could place them and render them to see what they look like before, and explain materials and all that. When I'm done with that, then we'll move from there after I'm done with the modeling, because we're going to be done modeling the whole house before we now go to rendering the house. So when we get to the rendering stage, that's where we would I would make a full video explaining rendering materials, textures, and so on and so forth. Then when we are done with that, then we'll now take all the models that we have created so far and begin to produce our final imagery using the various softwares. All right, so stay tuned. The core software we're going to use is going to be Lumion and V-Ray. Those are the core softwares. But I did mention that we'll use Twinmotion and we'll also use Unreal Engine. All right. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that, but it may not be immediately. I might not settle down to make the remaining two engines immediately. I might just take a little bit of time because I do have a life here, so I have to, catch up with some activities physically in my environment. So, but once we do finish the main course, I will now make those videos on rendering with Unreal Engine and rendering with Twinmotion. All right. So I'm going to spend time explaining those render engines. I'll go in as detailed as possible how you go back and forth between them, because different people can use different render engines, and frankly speaking, your system and the client and nature of your client and what you want as your end result would determine everything that you do in your rendering. All right. So, but nevertheless, it's visualization. All right. If realism is your goal, then we'll talk about the softwares and procedures you could use to achieve realism. If your goal is just to see what it looks like in a slightly real atmosphere or virtual atmosphere, that's fine. All right. So thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry for the long explanations, but we're having a course, so I have to explain things. All right. So the next video, we're going to take care of the gates and we'll be done with this session of modeling. And the next couple of videos, we'll start modeling this whole building. All right. So we're going to dissect it and we're going to get down to work. Thank you so much. Please, if you have gained some knowledge, if you have improved in your understanding, do remember that everything you learn in one software can transition to another software, right? So thank you for your time. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment where you need to. All right. Thanks so much and catch you in the next one. Bye.